Hi YouTube and welcome back to my channel. So I am now 2 months on testosterone officially today, and I just got my my 2-month shot. And as before, not a lot of changes. Don't think my voice has changed that much yet. When I talk to myself, I think it sounds different, but when I record it, it still doesn't sound that different to me. So that's not really happening yet. I know that transition happens differently for everyone, and you know, it's just one of those things that's kind of getting me frustrated a little bit because I see a lot of other YouTubers where their voice started changing at 4, 6, 8 weeks, etc., and mine hasn't really yet. So there's that. But I have noticed an increase in body hair again still. I haven't shaved recently, and you can't really tell, but if I take my magnifying mirror, I can see them, where there's definitely more hair growth here, and I just started noticing that the hairs on my face are starting to come in darker, so that's starting to happen, and other hair growth in other areas. I mean, I still tend to shave a lot. I've always been very much of a shaving body hair person, and so I'm still kind of shaving most of it off. So I'm like, in terms of like leg hair and stuff, I don't know if that's started to increase or not, because I just shave it off because I don't like it. I don't like body hair on men or women. It's not a gender thing at all. It's just I'm not a fan of body hair. I tolerate it on other people because it's their body and it's not my my call to tell them what they can do, but at the same time it's just not something I'm just not into. So it's my personal thing. But anywho, I've been doing really well with staying on top of the acne, so far that's actually been pretty good so far, and I don't know if I'm just happen to be doing the right routine to keep it at bay, or if because I'm older, whether or not I'm just not experiencing the acne blooms that a lot of transgender men get when they start testosterone. So I don't know which way that's happening yet. So, because I know most transgender guys tend to be, you know, in their 20s and not in their 40s, almost 50, because I'll be 47 this year. So, you know, I'm definitely not of the younger set. So I don't know whether or not my age has anything to do with anything, in terms of like maybe my age has something to do with why my voice change is taking a longer time to happen and all that stuff. So I don't know. That's actually, I'm going to be seeing my endocrinologist for my 3-month follow-up next month. Obviously, it's 2 months now, so another month, and I'll get to talk to him. And excuse me, that is one of the things that I think I mentioned before, that coughing and and sore throat and stuff from the vocal cord changes, but the tone and timbre of my voice really hasn't changed much, if at all, yet. So that may or may not start happening soon, or you know, I have gone on forums and stuff looking for like other guys' experiences and things, and some of them have said, yeah, it didn't happen for me until it was 6 months along, and in some cases it was because their testosterone levels weren't quite right yet, and they had to have adjustments in their testosterone first and things. So there's all sorts of reasons why my voice might not be changing yet. It could be genetics, could be any number of things. So we'll see how that goes. But in other words, you know, that's basically where I'm at with my transition now. I mentioned last time that I was doing a scavenger hunt called GISH, the Greatest International Scavenger Hunt, which is a charity scavenger hunt, and I warned you that I would be posting some weird-looking videos, and I did. So I hope you guys had, if you watched any of them, that they were kind of fun. My favorite one is the Star Wars one, where I got to dress up my vacuum cleaner as a Jedi Knight. That was one of my favorite items, and I had a lot of fun just kind of coming up with the concept and putting it together and framing all the shots and everything. And I did a bunch of different shots and things, and then just edited it all together, and that was just a lot of fun to do. So my team, we were a Just for Fun team. We completed because there were about 214 items on the list for the scavenger hunt this year, and we completed. I don't know if we ever got a final count, but we somewhere between 60 and 70 items is what our team completed. So we had a whole lot of very active members on our team. We had 15 members, and everyone contributed at least one item, and I contributed 9 items. Or I completed 9 items, but I had overlap with some other people who were also doing the same items I was, and which is fine. And then the whole, actually there was 3, sorry, there were 3 things, and 2 of the ones that I had done, the team voted that the other person's was what they wanted to submit, which is, you know, perfectly fine, and I thought that the other submissions were great. But then there was one, it was because there's Misha Collins did a what's called a raisin challenge, where he challenged people on YouTube. He made a video with his kids saying, "I challenge that everything is better with raisins," was his contention. And he actually had his kids try a bunch of different foods with raisins and without raisins, and raisins always won. So he's like, I say that everything is better with raisins. And for GISH, the challenge was to prove Misha wrong, basically, that not everything is better with raisins. And there was another gal on our team. She was also new to GISH, and she also made a raisin challenge video like I did. Her first one, though, it didn't prove Misha wrong. It proved him right, because she made a sandwich and a smoothie with raisins, but they were delicious. So that was her whole thing. It's like, oh, this is good, and I kind of pointed that out. It's like, the challenge is to prove Misha wrong. So she actually redid it with, like, I think she put pickle juice or something in her smoothie. It's like, well, of course it's not going to be better with raisins if you're going to make it disgusting. You kind of have to have a legit thing that you're eating and put raisins on it. And I personally, okay, so I'm weird. I like stuff that a lot of people don't like. So I made a liverwurst sandwich. And side note on that, there's always some kind of a food restriction when it comes to GISH every year. It's just a thing that they do. And last year was kale was restricted. This year it was gluten. So gluten-free was the commandment. And so, I mean, you know, like, you don't have to follow the dietary restrictions while you're doing GISH, but if you're doing a challenge that includes food, you know, that's probably more like, you get more points if you're doing something that's based off of the food restrictions. So since I was making a sandwich, I was like, okay, well, I need that to be gluten-free. So I actually baked homemade gluten-free bread. I did a coconut flour bread with rosemary and garlic, and it actually turned out really delicious. My friends and I ate the rest of the loaf because it was actually really good. But so I had a slice of that, and they put liverwurst on it because I happen to like liverwurst. I grew up in a German household. We ate liverwurst regularly, and I just happened to like it. And I love liverwurst, and liverwurst on this bread was actually really good. But you throw raisins on top of that, and no, it wasn't good. Raisins do not make liverwurst better. So if you don't like, if you don't even like liverwurst to begin with, raisins are not going to make you like it better. So. And so ultimately, the team let me submit that video for the item. So, but yeah, lots of crazy, wacky things. And on the charity note, there's a foster care. Well, not foster care necessarily, but there's a charity, a local charity that we have called Realities for Children, and they work with a lot of other organizations as well, but they work with children that come from abuse and neglect backgrounds, and these kids are often in foster care or even in adoption situations and things, where and so they do a lot of services for these kids, counseling services. You know, charitable donations, you know, making sure that they have the items that they need, school supplies, that kind of thing. They're doing a big school drive right now. And I put together a care package based off of one of the GISH items to give them like a PJs and a blanket and you know, if you throw in a book, and I gave him a little backpack, and I also gave him a stuffed animal. So I put everything together. Basically, I decided, so I looked at a number of options, and I got PJs for a 6 to 7 year old boy, and then I just kind of built the care package around that, anything that would appeal to a boy of that age. And what I really liked was so I called them up and I was like, hey, I really would like to make this donation, and can I get a photo and everything? This is for a scavenger hunt for charity. And she's like, oh yeah, please come by. And when I showed up and I sat down and I talked to her and I explained to her what the whole thing was. And then she told me that there were several other teams in our local area that were all coming. And one of the teams, one of the people from the other team actually arrived when I was there. And so I was able to talk to another person doing the scavenger hunt, which was kind of cool. But I think she said there was like 4 or 5 different teams in my local area that were all donating to that particular charity, all because of GISH. And so I thought that was pretty amazing. That we had so many people in the area that were participating and choosing that as the charity. And then in addition to that, one of the other things that the scavenger hunt was doing, there was an item to get donations for these women in Rwanda who are trying to rebuild their lives after the whole genocide thing that happened. And I think they're starting like a potato farm and other things. They're trying to become self-sustaining, and they needed land. They need land. They were donated some land, but they needed more in order to grow and in order to have more women who could become more self-sustaining. And so the goal was for us to raise $150,000 to help these women, and GISH ended up raising $265,000. So, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool. I'm really happy that like this one charity thing that I was a tiny little speck of a part of, did this wonderful thing for these women over in Africa that are trying, so desperately to rebuild after that tragedy that happened. So I had a lot of fun doing GISH, and a lot of fun doing all that stuff, and it's just a nice thing to do, and I took a break from all my writing and all my editing, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna focus and do this stuff and just have a lot of fun with it. And that's exactly what I did. So anyway, that's basically what's going on with me. I guess I'll see you in a couple weeks, and we'll see where I'm at progress-wise then. All right, take care. Bye-bye.